Let's get started.
And started recording. What is up, everyone? I'm just going to go ahead and make my co-host. I still have not mastered this in terms of making co-host, but so Stella, just totally forgive me on this.
No worries. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. How are you guys? Thank you so much for being here. I'm really, really excited to have you guys. Welcome to Wind Up Your Wednesdays. And guys, this is a weekly business series every single Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. And we're going to be featuring, innovative business tips, strategies, and high value motivation to kick your entrepreneurial spirit into massive overdrive. So I'm just going to jump right in and just introduce myself. So my name is Diana Mae Fernandez. I'm the founder of Dolls Mastermind, but you guys can call me D because we're all friends and family here. So a little background about me. I put myself in business school and I started my career essentially, on Wall Street. And I was a gatekeeper for several CEOs, executives in hedge funds and like private equity. So, I used to tell the partners at the firm, guys, hey, put me in, coach, meaning put me into those boardrooms, put me in front of the investors, get me involved in all of the projects, so from all of that wealth of knowledge, I was able to organically transition from being an executive assistant to now being a business coach for emerging entrepreneurs. So check this out, right? I went from saying, hey, put me in, coach, to now coaching people to be entrepreneurs. So I love it. And I run an exclusive invite-only mastermind group, like I said, about Dolls Mastermind for entrepreneurial women. In addition to that, I co-founded a children's charity in Manila, Philippines for street kids that gives them access to basic daily necessities. So our program is actually going to launch in the fall. And my team that I built out there in Manila is just making massive power moves. So speaking of power moves, for me, it was just inevitable to join forces with my incredible and talented co-host, Silvica Rosca. I just feel like that was just such an inevitable collaboration.
Oh, definitely. Absolutely. It was destined. So hi, everyone. I'm the founder of Skill Review, in which I break down the must-read books on entrepreneurship and mindset. I also enjoy helping people take along my journey, which is why I share the knowledge that has helped me along my way. And I'm actually going to be launching a mindset masterclass in a couple of weeks. And if you want to be, if you want to be among the first to know about it, go ahead, go to my website, theskillreview.com, and sign up for the mailing list, and you'll be the first to know. I'm super psyched about it. I'm also launching a business within a network marketing company and launching another business to host seminars for entrepreneurs. And my business partner is a guy who has taught at one of the top seminars. It's one of the top 5 seminars ranked by Forbes, actually.
Wow.
He's taught there. Oh gosh, this guy, he was the host of Parapreneurs this Sunday.
Yes.
So yes. And I'm also an avid philanthropist as well. And I serve on the board of multiple scholarship organizations and on outreach trips to Mexico. And like Dee mentioned, you guys, we're here to kick your entrepreneurial spirit into overdrive, all right? So some of our show highlights are interviews with global influencers, sales strategies, high value motivation, and weekly action items that you can start implementing into your business every single week right now. So for example, last week's weekly action item, we had Tamika Anderson, the confident coach, on. And the action item was to learn who you are, love who you are, and lead with who you are. So, I mean, it's 3 in 1. But we had to, boom, jab that in there. So, and then we also provide every week mindset milestones.
Ooh, okay. So me as a business coach, I incorporate mindset milestones and challenges, and I love being able to make people think. So Sil, I'm going to challenge you. Speaking of mindset milestones, can you share with me just 3 mindset milestones that you had this week?
Oh gosh, this week was such a big week for me. So yes, definitely. Oh, definitely. So I apologize for that. There's an airplane flying over. Meet new people. Everywhere you go, strike up conversations with people. You will never know when a chance conversation at a coffee shop could open doors for you and have you, talking to Tony Robbins' coach. You just never know. You never know. And then also whenever you talk with people, especially when you interact with people that you think are higher than you, have I am bringing something to the table attitude. Never look down on yourself. Always see yourself as an equal, or at least I am bringing value. Always have that in your mind. And then last, set time aside to review what you've been learning and, just to analyze your growth and to be blown away basically by how much you're growing. Dee, What about you? What have been your mindset milestones this week? I know it was a big week for you too.
Yeah, it was a really big week for me. Aside from this upcoming launch that I have next weekend in New York City, which is probably one of the biggest milestones, a lot of the things, in preparation for the launch, it's really forced me to think about my life and how do I elevate? How do I move forward? And in order for me to do that, my three mindset milestones, still, thank you for asking, is one, to own up to your mistakes. Apologizing is a strength. A lot of people think that it's a weakness, but just being able to say, hey, listen, I really fucked up. I really messed up, but I just want to take full accountability of it. And how do we move on? How do we move forward? So for me, it was really, I had to own up to it because I know that in the middle of my launch, I've been neglecting family, friends, other obligations, because I just put my launch in massive priority, that a lot of things started to get pushed to the back burner. So I owned up to my shortcomings and I just wanted to move forward. So that was really, really massive for me to own up. My second milestone is letting go of hindrances that's preventing me from moving forward. Again, that really ties hand in hand with number one and number two. My third one is to allow yourself to heal and to focus solely on the good. Focus on the good of every single day. When I look back on my whole day, I look at what were my top three. I know still you and I are talking about 3 milestones from the week, but I always talk about 3 milestones of my day. What were 3 things, aside from my business things, what were 3 really great things that got me fired up and motivated in the day? And then that helps me look back on my days and my weeks and say, you know what? It's not a bad life. I just had a bad day. But now I position myself to make it into something positive. So those were my milestones.
Awesome, Dee. All right, you guys. Well, we are going to go ahead and dive right into our next segment, which is, Stephanie, can you go ahead and call in? And while Stephanie is calling in, I just want to remind you guys once again, every week we have weekly action items. Last week was learn who you are, love who you are, lead with who you are. Keep your ears open because we are going to have another action item today. So Dee, go ahead and introduce her.
Yes. Hey, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being here. We're really, really excited. Welcome to Wind Up Your Wednesdays. Thank you so much for being guest speaker. Guys, let me introduce you to Stefanie Arroyo. Stefanie Arroyo is a copywriter and amazing content strategist, and she basically helps entrepreneurs get straight with their story. She digs deep, she aligns with their message, and she creates copy and content that just doesn't convert, but it transforms. So, when Stephanie is, when she's not wordsmithing or running other businesses or consulting, she actually lives and breathes persuasive writing as a 3rd-year JD at Fordham University here in New York City. So she's juggling a multitude of things while still in law school. I don't know what kind of monster beast she is, but that's the type of person that I want on my team. And Stephanie and I are working on this intensive that we're having next weekend. And Sil right there just put the link up so if anyone wants to find out more information. And I just want to take a moment because this right here, what's happening on Blab, these are my ultimate women crush Wednesdays. These are the women that I'm building empires with. So this is a moment right now for me. So anyway, Stephanie, welcome. Thank you for being here.
I almost don't know how to follow with that kind of introduction. Thank you so much.
Don't worry about it, Zal.
Really no worries, Steph. So, can you tell us what is a sales copy and why is it important for businesses to have them?
Okay, sales copy is essentially anytime that you reach out with your offering to your client. So this is you speaking directly about your offering, your product, whatever it is that you're giving to them. That is essentially what you're selling to them. So I know people do conflate between copy and content. People think that, oh, they're one and the same. They're really, really not. Sales copy in itself is essentially when you're marketing that particular item, whether it's a coaching program or if it's a particular product or if you're a network marketer or something like that, you have something that you want them to invest in with you. So your sales copy is directly them hearing from essentially the horse's mouth, what it is that you have to offer, what it is going to do, how it's going to change their life. And so the reason why it's incredibly important is because they're hearing directly from you how that particular offering will help them. And that's something that you cannot, no matter how many testimonials you'll have, no matter how many times people will share it out, there's nothing that beats hearing it directly from you, how that particular thing is going to help them. So it's incredibly important to have an effective sales copy because and eventually that is the end point in which that's where essentially they're going to go click to buy.
Awesome.
Well, that's a way to come in swinging.
I know. Woo.
I just introduced you, and then this is the
I mean, you wanted to know what my bread and butter is. I'm going to give it to you. So
there you go.
I want a piece of that bread and butter. I'm about it. So I have a question, Steph. Ready? So what are some persuasive tips that entrepreneurs need to highlight on their content and their overall branding? Like, what do you suggest?
Okay. All right. So again, like to kind of go back into the difference between copy and content. Content is in itself, like copy is a part where you like essentially sell yourself. Content is where you are actually providing that kind of information for them. That's where they're going to learn about you. That's where they're going to learn about the product and realize, hey, this might actually be something that might work for me. These are things that I need to know. That's where you put in the value, the true, actual, real deal value into what it is behind your brand. So the important part about for entrepreneurs to remember is to really stay transparent and to really be themselves. Like I'm a big proponent, like if you want to have anything transformative at all, you need to talk about how that you transformed yourself from the point that you were in, that's the same as your client to now. So that's really the biggest selling point. Like,
oh my gosh, I'm sorry. You give me so many gold nuggets already. I just have to. I was trying to like type this stuff up, and I'm like,
Let me know if you want me to slow down.
Don't slow down. No, keep it going.
OMG. Oh yes. Actually, hold on. We do have Jason. Could you repeat that, please?
Yes, Jason. Repeat what you just said. I'm literally taking down notes. Hey guys, just to let you know, there is going to be a replay, so you can always catch it right after.
Mm-hmm, that's right. That's right. But Steph, continue before I interrupted.
Okay, no problem. I remember what I was saying. Okay, so essentially with content, right? You do your biggest selling point is yourself. And so I say this as a service-based entrepreneur. Like people come to me, they say, okay, what's your portfolio? Who have you worked with? What have you done? All that stuff. I can give you copies of copy of what I've done. I can show you, the sales pages I've done. I can show you all that stuff. But if you're doing something that's especially more experience-based, that's whether coaching or whether you're even a product, for instance, something that's actually tangible, like that you need to actually illustrate how that's changed someone's life. The best way to illustrate that is how it transformed yours. And so the biggest part for any entrepreneur to say, okay, so how have I gone from the point that you're in to the point that I'm in now? Because essentially, and this is something that I tell all my clients, your ideal client, like your avatar or whatever phrase you want to use, is essentially yourself, either a few months back, a few years back, or what have you. So the best way to illustrate that is say, okay, well, this is where I was. These are the pain points, the same pain points that you have. This is what has been going on for me. And this is how I was able to overcome that. And so by using the tools, using expertise that I've developed over time, I can shorten that for you if you follow my direction. Yeah. So that's really the best way to do it. And so again, you are your own portfolio. Again, I can show all the copy that I've done. I can show all the clients that I've worked with. And a graphic designer can show you, like, these are all the websites I've done, but you are your own portfolio right there. So being being transparent in your story is the best thing that you can do. Being authentic to that, warts and all, showing your flaws, showing your mistakes, saying, these are places where I've messed up, and this is the pain that I'm essentially saving you from. If you work with me, that's the way that you sell it.
Exactly. I love it. I love the fact that Sil and I are looking at each other and we're going, yeah.
Yes.
So Bain says the consumer is too intelligent for you to not be authentic now. 100%.
Absolutely. 100%.
So let's go back into, that authenticity and vulnerability, because this is something that I teach my clients all the time. I said, look, if you want to be able to reach out to people, you need to be able to humanize the process and story tell. So Stefanie, tell us a little bit about the power of vulnerability in storytelling.
Oh God. Well, first of all, storytelling is such a huge part of like really everything in your content, in your copy. Like you want to be a real person to them, especially now. And even Ricky really pinpointed, like, now that the consumer is so sophisticated, like you can't like pull the wool over their eyes. I mean, theoretically you really couldn't ever, but especially with the advent of the internet, with having live streaming, like there's no way that you can really hide that. So you need to be yourself 100% of the time. And if you're not only is it going to make it almost impossible for you to have your ideal clients, it's also going to be really, really hard to pull off, because having that mask on all the time is going to be really, really exhausting for you. So it's just not going to be fun. Yeah. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to make the entrepreneurial lifestyle work for you, because then you're just going to be basically giving yourself a job, and that's not fun at all. Mm-hmm. So So it's really, really important not only to make your life easier in itself, but also to make your client really not only connect with you, but also say, hey, I really dig this person. Like there's a likability factor that you cannot surpass at all. Like eventually the information, like you're not reinventing the wheel. The information is out there. So the way that they will want to be attracted to you is that they want to hear it from you. Because if not, let's say, especially in the coaching industry, this is really, really important. If they see, okay, well, you know, again, the information's there. It's just the way that you package it, the way that you talk about it, the way you even like live and breathe it. If they're not attracted to you, they're going to go move on to someone else. I mean, that's just, that's the reality of it, you know? And I emphasize this even with my clients too, that when someone's on your page, it's not because they're like, oh, I don't know what coaching is. Tell me what coaching does. It's they're already in the market for it. They just want to make sure you're the one that's going to best fit them.
I know. And I love the one thing that you highlighted in terms of likability factor, because that's one thing that I like preach until my face turns blue, is that 90% of business solely comes down to likability factor. People don't invest in products and services. People invest in people. So, you know, when you have that 90% likability factor down pat, it's inevitable that that person is going to want to work with you. So thank you so much for being able to highlight that, Stefanie. We're going to actually take a question here from Mina. So Mina wants to know, how do you start building the perfect selling copy in a startup? Love it. Is it all about transparency? What are the steps you want to take to get to that perfect copy? Thank you for that question, Mina.
That's a really good question, actually. Yeah, definitely. Here, hold on. I'm just actually reading it back again. The comments are going so quickly. My God, you guys.
Ricky's answer.
They're your copywriter. They know their shit.
Oh, I love Ricky's answer though. Hire a copywriter.
No chill factor. I love it. And he's right. You should.
No, there's definitely that. But also, besides like being a copywriter, like my big thing is for people to walk away with the actual copywriting skills. Because for as much as, like, you know, let's say you want to hire me to do your sales pages, you want to do your copy and all that, like eventually you are going to actually put yourself out there, like whether it's on Periscope, whether it's on Blab, whether it's on Facebook or where have you, you still have to live and breathe that kind of thing, right? Like you don't want to put out copy out there that's completely different than your own natural voice. So you do need, everybody needs to have copywriting skills. Absolutely. So one thing is to really get down and deep into what it is. First of all, why, like what's your why and how you're going to go enact your why. So you want to say, okay, like what is it that I'm actually doing here and why am I doing that? And how can I relate really and truly and deeply, authentically relate to my client? And so sometimes, you know, in asking those questions, you realize, hey, the person that I've been really pitching to is actually not my ideal client at all. I've definitely had that kind of breakthrough with many of my clients. And, you know, I don't mean to like kind of disturb their world in that way, but you really need to think about like what it is that, what is it that I'm actually going to provide? And is it going to work for the person that I want to work with? And also, how am I going to be able to do it in an effective way?
Awesome. I love it. All right. So someone went ahead and posted, my Happy Hub posted, how can I learn more about copywriting, especially if I want to become more likable?
Okay. All right. So one thing to be, in terms of being likable, is just really engaging in that conversation. It's really, and also like the way that you become likable is actually, it's a little bit backwards. Is you talk to and you interact with people that you do want to interact with. Because it really does come down to actually being just a genuine person, like being really there and actually want to interact with that type of person. Because if you say, okay, I'm going to work for this people, but actually like those are not the people that I generally want to hang with, it's just not going to work. So that's where authenticity comes in, because it really is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because if you're not authentic with who you want to be with, then you're just not going to really level up in the level of likability and the level of connectiveness and the level of just, you know, oh, wow, that person really gets it. Like you want to create that feeling in your client. And so if you're not authentic with who you really actually want to be with, that's it's not going to work.
Yeah. I love it. I know real quick. Because I love books, you guys. For whoever wants to learn about how to become more likable, read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes.
Everything Steph's been mentioning right here, in there, you guys. Wealth of knowledge.
My bow. Yeah.
Gold confetti of knowledge is just being sprinkled, fairy dust all around on this lab. I absolutely love it. Hey, we have time for one more question. So if anyone has it, please fire it up, because you're getting Stefanie Arroyo right here live answering your questions directly. And I know that everyone is eating this up. So Okay, so let's say if someone wants to have, they're struggling with likability. The one thing that I share with my clients is that, look, if you want that visibility, the first thing that you should say is like, put your why, right? Tell people, why is it that I want to start business? Like, why do I want to go into business for myself? Is it because I hated that 9 to 5, or even in this case, the 8 to 8? Why are you doing it? Are you doing it for your family? Do you want that freedom lifestyle? So just by putting that why out there as maybe like that first, like, hey, I've stepped onto the scene, I've arrived. I think that's going to be absolutely beneficial. So that's just my opinion. What's your take on that, Stefanie?
Okay, well, I mean, I 100% agree. Absolutely. And it's something that it really does come down to like finding out what your why is, going down to authenticity. It's so crucial. And I know it's something that, like, you talk about it as being a business coach, everyone talks about it. It's such a crucial part of every single part of your business. It's not even funny. Like it's if you're not down to what it is that the reason why you want to do things, or who it is that you want to connect with, it affects everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because even you can't like, fake it till you make it. Like, you really can't though. Like, to a certain extent, like, you can, like, on the day to day, but to actually have a fully functioning business, to have a fully functioning sales funnel, to actually have something that goes from like, first from creating your goal to like in its execution, it's just not going to work unless you have that fully solid, like what it is that you're doing. Like, that's when mind mapping comes in. That's when mindset is a huge deal. That's
mind mapping.
You know how to do mind mapping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And I really like the fact that you mentioned your why. Because, I mean, if you look at everything, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, start with the end in mind. What is your why? What's the legacy you want to leave behind? Every book like that talks about, hey, you want to be successful? What is your why? What that'll drive you forward.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Oh, which reminds me though, we had one more question.
Yes.
How do you work? Yes. How do you work with UX people, user experience?
Okay, that's really interesting. Like, there's I've been working with a few projects with UX people. So for people who don't know what UX, it's user experience. And so when you think about, okay, what it goes into the why. Like, what is the experience that you want to create for the consumer, for your client? How do you want them to actually engage with you? It's such an important part. Like, whether you want to have some sort of like entrance portal, if you want to have like what kind of experience you want to create for them, and that goes into like what is it what kind of legacy you want to lead. So when working with a UX person, like, we really get down to like, okay, and this is when it becomes a little bit, I wear a couple of hats, because then I get into, the design of the website, it does get into like the actual literal, like what the experience actually is. Because then it's like, all right, so once we do that, like, so how am I going to actually approach, how am I going to create that sales piece that works in kind with the UX, with that experience? So, I mean, it's a bit hard without like an actual tangible example, but it's really crucial for you to think like from your client's shoes. How do you want them to feel?
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to feel giving that thing to them?
Of course.
Yeah, it's all about feelings, right? So it's how do you want to feel doing this thing? How do you want them to feel when they interact with your material? What do you want them to feel when they interact with your content? How do you want them to feel to drive them to the click to buy? So it's all about like what you want to create and what kind of legacy you want to leave, and also the kind of effect that you want to have on your client.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Love it. I love it. Still, the call to action.
Whoop whoop! Oh my goodness! Oh
so
wow!
The whole entire blab is like the call to action, right?
Okay, Steph. If you could leave our viewers with just one call to action, one action item that they need to take today on their business, what would you leave them with?
I would tell them, like, really consider your offering. I mean, and all facets of it. Consider your offering and consider it from your client's shoes. Considering as a person who's actually selling it to them. Not just like, oh, I'm going to create this program. Okay, it sounds great if it's 90 days. Okay, I'm going to put this price point because that's what everyone else does. No. Consider it like from all sides of it. First of all, is this something that you would buy from yourself? Let's say 3 years ago or even 6 months ago. Is this something that you yourself would invest in? And if so, why would you do that? And what kind of experience do you want your client to have after investing in you, in your product, in your offering, in your services? And think about your pain points. What is your before and after story? So just like, I know I'm giving quite a bit, but yeah, really just like sit down and mind map the fuck out of your offering.
Oh,
That's my call to action right there. It's a big homework. I'm sorry.
All right, mind map your offering. That'll be the official thing. Mind map your offering.
Mind map the fuck out of your offering. I believe
that's actually the more correct.
Verbatim, okay? Hey, listen, Stephanie, thank you so much for being here and just sharing with us this wealth of knowledge in terms of the importance of having strong content and storytelling. And I really, really appreciate it. And guys, so Silvica and I have been sharing the link if you want to connect more with Stephanie and with me in person. We're hosting an event next weekend in New York City on April 15th to April 17th.
Yes.
And it's going to be The Coach and Content Camp, and we're just giving you some jam-packed, intensive, motivational. Like you can, if you can't be in New York City, it's perfectly fine because we're going to be streaming the whole 3-day event live. So there is no excuse of why you can't be there. Stephanie, we're wrapping up with you. Thank you so much for being here. Again, if you want to get in touch with Stephanie, we're posting the link at that bit.ly/T3C NYC, and that's T3C for The Coach and Content Camp. Thank you so much, Stephanie. We really value and appreciate you.
I really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Hey, Sil, do you want to talk about next week, what we have in store?
Oh, yes, definitely. All right, you guys.
I think they're here. Person's here.
Yeah, I know, I did. I think he was here. He is here. Oh, my goodness. Guess what, you guys?
Up next.
Viewers, up next week, talented Mr. Frank Salas himself, who is going to be teaching us how to manage your virtual assistant. Because you guys know, you can't run all this all by yourself. You are not a one-man show. You cannot be a one-woman show. You need to have help. So tune in next week to learn how to manage your virtual assistant with Mr. Frank Salas.
Yes, exactly. So guys, we're going to be here the same channel, same time at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. And we're just going to be here with our guest speaker, Frank Salas. Oh, and also I forgot to mention, because we're having massive amount of heavy hitters on Wind Up Your Wednesday, to the point. We're only inviting guest speakers, guys, because this is a fired up show. We're only going on this show for 30 minutes every single Wednesday. So we're getting straight to the point, giving you absolute rapid value. In addition to that, we are officially booked up until July. We have no spaces until July. So all of these heavy hitters that we're having, look how massive our show has grown with only a month. So as of right now, as of last week, Wind Up Your Wednesdays is officially open for sponsorship. So now you guys have an opportunity to sponsor your business, to get it all featured. And I mean, you get us. You get Silvica and Diana May. What a bonus.
I know, right? Whoa, there you go.
So guys, thank you so much for joining us here at Wind Up Your Wednesday with your Women Crush Wednesday, Silvica Rosca and Diana May Fernandez. We'll catch you guys next weekend at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the same channel. Thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next week. Bye.